Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make 10 different types of necklines. Like, yes, you heard me right, 10 different types of necklines. So for this you'll be needing your pattern paper and your pen with your quilting ruler, your scissors, your measuring tape. Yeah, those are basically the things you need. So first up, we're starting with the round neckline. Now the paper I have here is folded into two. Now the width of one half is 7.5 inches, which is half of my shoulder to shoulder measurement. Just measure out your shoulder to shoulder measurement and then fold that paper into two. So for the length of this, you can basically use what suits you if you don't have enough pattern paper. Now for mine, I have it to my chest line. So this is 15 inches by about 10 inches thereabouts. So that's for the measurements that you need for your paper. Then we're going to now work on our neckline. So first you're going to measure 3.5 inches on that top point and 3.5 inches downwards. So you know it's a round neck, it's an equal neckline. So we're doing 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Once we've measured that, we're going to go to that right angled corner and measure out 1 inch diagonally. So diagonally you're measuring 1 inch out, and then we're going to use it to form our curve. So like what I'm doing right here, this is the curve I'm using for my round neckline. And then at the end of the shoulder line, I'm going to mark 1 inch downwards and then slant it right there. So that's my shoulder slope. I'm just doing it this way so that it can look like a real, top bodice pattern basically. So the shoulder aspect, I'm just doing it so that it can look like that. So I'm just going to cut out your neckline and cut out the slant, and then you're going to have your round neckline. So guys, do you see it? It looks like a round neckline. Write out your measurements so that you don't forget anything, and that's it guys. This is the round neckline. So next up, we're going to our V neckline. Now for this, I'm using a longer paper because what I'm using is 3.5 inches by 7 inches. So you're going 3.5 inches wide and 7 inches downwards. So that's what you're measuring. And then once that is measured, you're going to connect this point at the top to the center front at the bottom. So just like I'm doing right here, you're going to connect those 2 points and then cut it out from there. Now guys, do you see it? It looks so much like a V-neck already. This is a V neckline. If you want to sew your dress, this is what you're going to use for that neckline. I like this measurement because it's not too low and it's not too high either. So it's just the perfect balance. Now next, we're going to have our deep V or our plunge neckline. So we're using like the top half of our basic bodice for this one. So for this, I'm going to measure 4 inches by 12 inches. Now similar to the V, but the V is smaller. This one is wider and longer because it's a plunge neckline, like a very deep V. And then connect it the same way we connected the V neckline, slanted just like that. And then we're now going to cut it out, and this is what we have, our plunge or deep V neckline. Even though I'm so stressed out, everything just feels like next up, we're cutting the easiest one of all, the square neckline. So you're just going to measure 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, square it up and cut it out. That's all you need to do guys. There is no other thing you need to do. Work on your shoulder slope and cut it out right there. So guys, do you guys see the shape? This is the square neckline. Now guys, next up we have our scoop neckline. And for this, similar to the other one, we're going to be measuring 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. But this time, we're going to now measure 1 inch from the corner right there, the right hand corner right there. You're going to measure 1 inch upwards and 1 inch to your right. So do you guys get 1 inch upwards and 1 inch to your right? So that's what I'm going to do right now. Measure it out and then connect it with a curve. So you can use a curve ruler, you can use your free hand, just to make sure it's a curve. So you're curving it so that it can have that scoop kind of design. So once that is done, work on your shoulder slant and then cut it out from there. This is what we have. Write out everything you need to write And there you have your scoop neckline. So guys, the next one we're working on is the sweetheart neckline. Now this is, more advanced than the other ones we've been doing. So what you have to do is measure out 4 inches by 7 inches. Just do that first. 4 inches by 7 inches. And then we're going to go down by 4.5 inches, just like I'm doing right here. We're going to measure out 4.5 inches and mark it right there. Now, from this 4.5 inches, you're going to draw a curve to form that sweetheart shape. So you're curving it to the bottom center front, just like I'm doing right here. Just curve it as, smooth as you can. If you have a pattern master, that would really come in handy, but because I don't have a pattern master, I'm just going to cut it out the way I can and make sure it still looks like a sweetheart neckline. So I'm just going to cut it out right here, and guys, it actually looks like I used a pattern master for this. Like, look at it. It looks so perfect. So I'm just going to write out everything I need to write out, my measurements, what it's called and everything, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Now the next one, similar to the sweetheart neckline, is the Queen Anne neckline. So for this Queen Anne neckline, it looks so much like the sweetheart, but it has its differences. So for this, you're going to measure out 3 inches by 7 inches. So just measure it out, 3 inches by 7 inches, square it up. Then on this line, you're going to measure downwards by 4.5 inches. So measure 4.5 inches and mark it right there. Now we're going to find out our shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2 minus 3 inches. Now the 3 inches we measured earlier right here. So mine is 15 inches for my shoulder to shoulder measurement. Divided by 2 gives me 7.5 inches. Now that 7.5 inches, I'm going to minus the 3 inches I'm already using right here from that, and it will give me 4.5 inches. Now you're now going to divide that 4.5 inches again by 2 and then measure it out from this point right here, this 4.5 points that we just made. Measure it from there outwards. So in my case, that's 2.25 inches. I'm inspired by thirst. I'm inspired by worth. Now it's time to now connect our points together. So guys, now we're going to connect the 3-inch point to that point that we just made just now, like the 2.25 inch points that we just made. You are connecting both of them together, just like I'm doing right here. Guys, look at it. Just connect it right there. And then we're now going to connect it using a curve. So this shape, you're going to connect it from that point, the 2.25 points, to the center front. So just like we did in the sweetheart neckline, you're going to connect it that way in a curve. So guys, just look at it and place your paper the way mine is on the screen so that you guys won't make any mistakes. So this is the shape. It's actually tricky, but it's going to turn out really good in the end. And then cut it out from there. Now guys, can you see it? It's similar to the sweetheart, like I said, but again, it has its differences. So this is the difference. This is actually like asymmetric, kind of. It's slanting, while the sweetheart neckline is straight. Next up, we're working on our boat neckline. So for this, you're measuring 4.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Now this is usually really wide at the shoulder part and very short on the depth. So we're using 4.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and then we're going to square it up right there. Once that is squared up, you're going to just connect it using a curve. You can use your free hand, you can use your curved ruler, just connect it with a curve from about 1 inch in, and once you're done, cut it out, and it's going to look so much like a boat neckline. Now as you guys can see, this already looks like a boat, so that means we're on the right track. It's actually really a boat neckline. I love how this one turned out as well. So just do what you have to do, write out everything you have to write out, your measurements, everything. And now let's move on to the next one. Now for the next one, we're doing a 1 shoulder neckline. So for this, we're actually going to just need one side. So just measure 4 inches right there. And then we're going to open up our pattern. You know, it's a one shoulder neckline, so it's only one that will have the shoulder slant and the other would be like an asymmetric shape. So at that 4 inch, we're going to go to the other end and measure 4 inches downwards. So you're not measuring the 4 inches downwards on the part where you have the shoulder. It's on the part that is going to be around your armhole that you're measuring 4 inches down. So draw your shoulder slant and then connect that 4 inches that we marked earlier, the first 4-inch point, to the second 4-inch point. So you're connecting it in a straight slant. And sometimes some people want it to be curved as well. You can make it straight, you can make it curved. It's up to you. Anything you want to do, just make it straight or curved. It's going to still look like a one shoulder neckline. Once you're done, cut it out and your one shoulder neckline is ready.
I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first.
Guys, next up we're working on our asymmetric neckline. Now this one is not so hard. So we're going to be measuring 3.5 inches at the top right here. Mark that same point at the back so that you can have the same thing on the other side, and then open up your paper.
Third verse, about the lies you go disperse.
Now on the side where you want your slant to be facing, mark downwards by 6.5 inches and rule a line right there. And then connect that other point to this 6.5 inch point. So it's going to be a slant. So that's what will form your asymmetric neckline. So just connect it right there and that's all you need to do. Now cut it out and there you have it. Our asymmetric neckline is ready. And yes, that's the final one. I hope this would really help you guys when you're trying to create, you know, those complex designs, you know, and the simple ones as well. Now these patterns have helped me a lot. Anytime I'm making a dress, I can just pick the neckline that I need and just place it on it, use it to cut it, and then keep it back in a safe place. Instead of creating a new basic bodice for a particular neckline, you can easily just manipulate the one you have already and use this particular pattern to, you know, just work on it and make your new dress, your new top, anything you want to make, and it's going to be smooth sailing for sure. Subscribe so you can get notified first when I post any video. Like this video as well, please comment as well. It helps my algorithm, it helps YouTube to know that yes, you are actually engaging with my content. Did I say subscribe again? Yes, please subscribe to the channel. And until my next video, do have yourself a wonderful morning, noon, or night wherever you are. It's still your favorite content creator and fashion entrepreneur, Lara Savage, signing out.